All right, class. So I want to go over real quick with you how to use Menards Deck Designer, and it's a pretty neat tool that they have on their website, and I think it's pretty practical. You guys can get to learn how to use this. It has all sorts of benefits to getting to know how to use, especially if you were to decide that you wanted to build one of these decks in real life, or if you're in business for yourself, you could actually use this and kind of go and show customers, give customers a idea of what the deck would look like, as well as get your costing and price information as far as what you want to charge somebody to build a deck like this. So from whatever you're using, whether you're using Firefox or Google, so just go ahead and type menards.com into the browser and get Menards website up. So now, here where it says Project Center, I'm going to click that arrow, and I will go to their Design and Buy tab, and you'll see right here that they have a deck that you can design and buy the deck. So this brings up their design tool. So I'm just going to click Start Designing. Now, you don't have to create an account, but you'll notice right up here in the upper right-hand corner of the screen that I do have an account with Menards. You will need to sign up and get an account with Menards here in order to complete this assignment and get your bill of material and your costing on it. It's not a big deal. You just basically sign up with an email address, and it will allow you to save any design that you want and save all of the pricing information that you have with that as well. Now, if you don't want to use your school email account, which I suggest, it's not going to hurt your school email account to do it. If you want to create up some anonymous type email, you can create other Gmail accounts or anything. If any of your existing email accounts you can use as well. So when we go through this, the first step here, it's asking for a zip code. So go ahead and we'll type in our zip code, and then it wants to bring up the list of the stores that are in the area. So I'll just go ahead and select the Champaign store, and it comes and gives me a list of tabs that we're basically going to walk through as we design this. So you'll notice up here the online deck store, it starts with select a store. Then we're going to go through a series of design tabs, then a series for materials, series for the summary, and then we're going to lastly be able to generate our bill of material, quote sheet, and pricing on it. So, starting out, selecting a deck shape. There's lots of cool shapes on here for a deck. So, you notice as you click on each one of these, it will change and give you different styles depending on however you want to design and do your deck. So for me, right now, in the sake of this particular video, I'm going to just create this type of shape. So, actually, I'm going to create this one and use this one with that little feature in there as well. So as I look at it, I want to put a stairway right here down to the ground level. Or if I was using something like this, I could put a stairs down from there. But I think I kind of like the idea of having a railing here and here with the stairs open there. So I'll go ahead and use that to adjust. Now, a couple other things as you use this. If you press and hold your roller button, it will zoom in and out. Of course, you can also just scroll with the roller button as well. If I depress and hold the right button, then I can kind of move and manipulate it around the screen. When we get into 3D mode, if I press and hold the left button on the mouse, then it will allow me to kind of pan around the 3D and change the position and viewing capabilities of it. So my deck here, the auto defaults that they're given is for a 16-foot by 12-foot deck. That's a little bit small on my size. So the deck I'm looking at for my backyard, I actually want to make a little bit bigger. I want to make it about 20 foot long. So you'll see that there are arrows with directions on each of these. We'll call them walls for right now. They're railings that will go up. So just kind of click on one of those, and then you can move that to the dimension that you want. Now for your project, go out and measure out on your back, in your back door, just measure out the length there in the house and kind of use that as a guide to get you your dimensioning for what you want to build. So I'm at 12 foot this dimension. I'm now 20 foot that way. I also want to increase my dimension this way. Instead of 12 foot, I'm going to go ahead and make that 14 foot. So I'm just going to pull that to 14. Notice how some of this changed here. So definitely want that 8 foot to be longer as well. So we'll go ahead. Now, it stops me there at 8 foot 7 inches. And the predominant reason is because of the size of this area right here. So we got to kind of make some adjustments to this wall. So I'm going to go 2 foot that way. That gives me a 4 foot 10 inch section. But basically, as I come down, rather than paying attention to the length of this, I want to keep my steps to be about 4 inches wide, or 4 feet wide. So right now it's 4 inches, 4 foot 1. So let me go ahead and move that to 4 foot exact. Now I'm at 3 foot 2 inches here, 2 feet here. So you really want to play around. You can kind of play around a little bit with that. So we'll go 2 foot 10 that way, and let's go here. So we'll get that to 4 foot. Now I'm 2 foot 4 that way. So I got to go back just a little bit. So if I want to try to get this somewhere exactly the same. Oh, there you go. All right, so now I'm 2 foot 7 inches here, 2 foot 7 inches there, and I got my 4 foot at the angle. If you're keeping yours to just regular square or rectangle shape, you won't have quite as much issues with that. But again, it also won't look quite as interesting as far as a deck goes. So it's kind of what you like and what type of a look you want to have, you want your deck to have. So once you have those dimensions and the shapes selected, you just go ahead and press continue. Now, notice the next step here is to indicate the deck board direction. And for me, my current deck has boards laying and oriented this way. I don't like that because if I get water overflow from my gutters or so forth, if the leaves are clogged up and I haven't gotten up there to unclog my gutters, a lot of times that water comes right down here and then that water rolls to the house. So as I design a new one, I'm going to move and have my decking going this direction instead. This is the wall where I'm going to attach this side of the deck to the wall of my house that way. And my door for my deck into my house is right about here in this area here. So by doing it this way, I'm also going to put a slight incline away from the house so that the water runs off. And when I say very slight, you won't really notice it. You want the deck to be pretty much flat and level. So I mean, it'll be a very slight angle to get that water away from the house. Go ahead and click a continue. Then it wants to add an attached wall. So notice at this point I can attach a wall here on any of these places where it's given me this circle. So for me, this is the wall that I'm going to attach to my house. So I'll go ahead and add that. It gives up that yellow sign to show it. If I add like a corner, I could also add the wall there, so that way it'd be double. I'm going to go ahead and remove that wall because I only want mine on the back here. Go ahead and click continue. Now, also wants to indicate the stairs, so I'm going to click right there and add stairs. So there are my stairs to go in. Continue. And now it's height, and this is where we're getting into that 3D type of look. This is 4 feet above ground level. For me, I'm going to be about 2 feet above ground level. So you'll have to probably play around with your mouse just a little bit as you do this. There you go. Alright, so 2 foot above ground level. Continue. And then it is asking railing. Now, want to point this out. So if you see this, rails are placed on all of these walls. So you'd have to go and remove it as opposed to adding rail. So the rail is already there. So on this, you just kind of have to click continue. Now your 3D image is being generated. And you'll see here, if you're using your mobile devices, there you have your 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 fingers. So to kind of do it, or a left click, scroll wheel, and right click to go. So let me go ahead. So we'll see, you can see how I can zoom in and zoom out. Pressing my right mouse button and clicking, holding that I can move. And of course my left mouse button, while I keep that held and clicked in place, this gives me and shows me the deck that I'm putting on there. Alright. And it wants to know the material type. Now, for me, I'm just going to use the AC2 green treated. So this is your pressure treated wood. Notice right now, this has already given me a estimated pricing for this, and I haven't even really gotten into it, of $2,578. So if a lot of people like red cedar for decks. So if I click that, this will give me a costing there. So you'll see it's a substantially more for your red cedar to actually use red cedar. But there are benefits to using cedar too, as opposed to pressure treated wood, especially if you're not really wanting the chemicals to be on there. There's naturally resistant to bugs and weather resistant there in cedar properties. So you know, it's really a matter of preference for the homeowners to do this. Some people don't like the way that pressure treated wood looks, but they don't want to spend the money for the red cedar, so they'll buy this cedar tone treated. It's basically your pressure treated wood too, just kind of designed to look like red cedar, and dyed to look like red cedar, I should say. And you can see as you click on this, it does change the way that deck and looks. So keep that in mind. I'm just going to go ahead and use the AC2 treated. Click continue. Now here's your deck boards. So I got a 5/4 by 4, so, or a 5/4 by 6. So I could also use 2 by 6 or 2 by 4 lumber. Now some of this depends on how much you, again, this is an appearance thing between your 5/4 4 or your 5/4 6. Really, whether you want a wider board going down or a narrower board. Now, I like the wider boards. I tend to think that they're also a little bit more readily used for deck building. It's less work because you have less fasteners to attach as you go. So I'll click on the 5/4 6, hit continue. Now I can select whatever type of screw that I want to fasten those boards down. So for me, I like the square drive as opposed to the other drives. So in the choices that you're given here is you either use the stainless or a tan kind of coated type, which is what I'm going to go ahead and use. So the tan coated deck screws, the square drive, click continue. And this is your framing material. So, well, if I didn't use cedar before. I certainly am not going to use cedar now, so we'll keep with the A2 green treated. So continue on. On the joists, so I can use either 2x8, 2x10, or 2x12, and this of course is going to have a lot to do with the load capacity or how much weight you need to put on it. For me, I'm just going to go with 2x8, just my family and friends or I will be on the back of this deck, so it's not going to be supporting a whole tremendous amount of weight, and I'm also not real high up in the air. If I was building a deck to come out onto from the second floor, I might consider something a little stronger than the 2x8. I'd have to do the load calculations on that just to make sure, and I'd have to look into codes, and we'll talk a little bit about that too, looking into those codes to make sure that I meet all the requirements. Or if, say, I wanted to put something like a hot tub or some type of a pool or something on that that's going to be holding the weight of water, which is very heavy, then I would certainly need to make that a lot stronger and use something like 2x12 probably, or 2x10. But for now, I'm just going to go with 2x8. Click continue. This is the beam. I'm still using the 2x8. So, and then your beaming post. Now, as you're looking at this, again, you'd have to take into the load that's on that and how much weight you need to hold and support. So for me, I don't need a 6x6 framing post or the 4x6, so I'm just going to go with the 4x4 framing post. I'm only, like I said, only suspending this up 2 feet off of the ground. So because of that selection, my screws and my hardware is already predetermined for me. And then I get into the footing and pouring these footings. Now, you'll notice this is a 12-inch poured footing, an 8-inch poured footing, 16-inch poured footing. I've got deck blocks, octagonal concrete footings, or just plain concrete. So, and what this 12-inch, 8-inch, 16-inch refers to is the diameter of the tube. So, it gives you a tube that makes it a little easier for you to pour the concrete into, and kind of holds and keeps things and helps to retain moisture, a little bit of moisture away from the concrete. So for me, I'm just going to use this 8-inch poured footing. Again, I'm not that high up off the ground, so that's fine. And then I'm going to select 24 inches deep. Now this will depend on how much concrete I need and how deep I need to bury the posts in to the ground to help support that. In all honesty, if you're doing this, you need to be checking with the city and seeing what the code are, just to make sure that you are obeying and following local building and zoning codes when you do this. So I don't know what it is in Monticello. I'd have to check. So joist hanger. So we'll go ahead and do the galvanized joist hanger and joist hanger fasteners. So, and it's giving you everything. So here's your railing material next. So notice I got AC2. That's just your pressure treated railing. You can kind of do some cedar tone. Play around with this. You can kind of notice the difference here. Maybe I didn't want to spend the money for the deck, but I do like the look of the cedar rail, so I do that. I can do aluminum rail, so that really kind of changes the look. Composite railing, that's a type of plastic, usually recycled anymore, so, and you could probably buy that in a variety of different colors. So quick rail. So, and as you do this, when you bring all these up, notice you are given more information to help you with your ideas here. It gives you kind of a look as far as how that would look on the back patio when you do that. So go in, let's do this cable railing, just so you see what some of these look like. So, big difference. So, that for me, I'm just going to do your standard AC2 railing. Just keep this all pressure treated. Alright, and then again, now you've got your traditional railing, which is shown. Now I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit, pan up, just so you see how this changes with your railing here. So from this point I'm gonna be in here because I think you'll need to see these changes. So here's my T handrail with a sweep. Notice how it changes at the bottom. Here's your spindles, and they're attached to the outside edge. So vertical, so vertical handrail. So right now I'm just going to go with the traditional handrail type of railing. My home here actually has this, and that's kind of a nice look too. So again, these are all design features of how you want this to look as you go and build these decks. So you put in what you want and what you think looks nice as you're doing this. Now, these are the spindles in here. So, and as I go looking, I can change these. Now, I kind of like the colonial spindle myself. Here's classic, so type of spindle. You can go on down to just standard round. Notice they're aluminum as well as wood. I don't really want to get into it. You can get into this, what they call a double knuckle or a bronze. So you got lots of potential choices there. Notice these are all special order. So I'm just going to go, this is a weekend project, maybe a 3 or 4 day weekend. And like I said, I kind of really like those colonial spindles that look. So I'll keep with the colonial. Continue, and we want to put a handrail on top here. So let's go that 2x6 handrail up top. I like the way that looks. So I like having that wider ledge there to set stuff on while I'm out on the deck. If you go with the 2x4 handrail, it's cheaper, but you don't have as much space there to set things on. So especially if you're having guests and company over, a lot of times you want to set your soda can or your glass or something on the rail when you're talking. That 2x6 gives you a wider ledge there to put stuff on. Okay. Now, graspable handrails. What this is talking about would be putting a handrail here on the steps. Again, you might need to check on code. Most homeowners don't need to do that. If you were a business or some other type of had public access to this, you would need to use a handrail to make it ADA compliant. So go ahead with the no handrail option. Again, this is my home. And now we're talking about the deck posts. So now it wants to know what your deck posts are. And here, notice too, this is going to change what's called the finial up top, or the way these look. So you have different choices. So with that, just kind of you're squared off. So I actually kind of like these with the rounded type post. Just architecturally, to me, it looks a lot nicer. Gives it a little bit more classical type styling. And then this base ring, that's going to go down here between your post and the deck. So again, I like to add that. I think that adds, brings a neater look, more sophisticated architectural style look to that. So we'll go ahead and add that in. And then here's your joist mount. So how we're going to mount those joists in. Deck flashing is to help provide some more water barrier and waterproofing of it. Changes your cost of your deck by about $100, but it'll probably add, at least give you an extra 3 to 5 years of life expectancy out of your deck. So I would certainly go ahead and recommend it. And then the last part here is to put some type of a barrier, what they call this lattice down below. So, and let me just show you. So you do want to do something like this. It doesn't necessarily have to be lattice. In the case of this particular style, they're only giving you lattice choices, different color, so forth. So I'll go with the green privacy. Now that's special order. So let's, here's your treated privacy lattice. So we'll go ahead with that for now. And you definitely want to do something to keep things from getting out or getting underneath your deck. You definitely don't want animals to get underneath there and make their nests or create a home. And doing things that might subject your house to entry by different animals or insects and so forth. So it's always a good idea to put something there to kind of cover and keep things out of that area. So click continue. And we have now completed our deck design. So that's where we're at. So let's go ahead, click OK here. And excuse me. As you go, like I said, you can kind of zoom in. We're just going to move this around so you can see what that will actually look like from the underside, from the top. It gives you kind of a fake wall there just to visualize it. Now, in my case, my door is actually over here instead, but this would be what it looks like. And I am ready to go ahead and print my design packet now. So we've got everything over here. It's got listing of all of that information. So right here where it says print design packet, I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now, I want the design packet, I want the layout dimension packet, and I want the hardware product detail sheet. So make sure that you check each of those. Continue to capture. Now, this I want to capture images of what this will look like. So, and it allows me to take up to 3. So I'm going to move it there like that. I capture that image. I want more or less a front view of what it would look like from this way. So we'll go ahead and capture that image. And then let's move around to this side and also give it a side view image from there too. So I got 3 different images there on how I want that, to help me visualize that. So I'll go ahead and print packet. And it kind of opened up. You saw it open up on the screen, and then it kind of flashed and went away. So where did it go? Well, it is stored at somewhere there on Menards account. So I'm just going to go here. Notice I have an estimated price already right there. So we will click add to cart here. And this is where you need to be signed in, because this is going to kind of go into Menards cart system and generate this for you. And this is where sometimes, as I've done this in the past, it's hung up and not actually given me the information, whether it was Menards website or something else there as well. So looks like we might be having some problems there. I might have to come back and show you this as a separate video. Although I think you could probably figure it out on your own. All right, so there is the shopping cart that it generated. Notice there's now 688 items in my shopping cart. So to finish this off, what I want you to do is go to View Printer Friendly. So I'm going to click on View Printer Friendly. That gives me the ability to print this out, and then I will click Print This Page. Now, you of course could change this to your printer and print it out, but we are dealing with this electronically here, so I want you to actually notice you could select your printer. I want you to save this as a PDF. So go ahead and have that as a PDF and click Save. Now, shopping cart at Menards, you guys know where you store stuff on your computer. I want you to save this as deck design hyphen, again, your first initial and your full last name. So for me, it's going to be B. Curry. So you just use your first initial and then put your full last name. So save the file as deck design hyphen your first initial, your full last name, and then just click save. That's going to give you that. So minimize this for just a second. Come down here into my wood production. There you can see is the PDF file. So this is what I want from you. So this PDF file is what you will submit as proof of doing this. Now notice, this gives me all of my materials that I need. I need 12 2x8 by 14 footers. I need 15 2x8 by 20 footers. So there's all my hardware. So lattice work. So everything that I need to kind of make all of this. Stair treads, my stringers, epoxy, you got it. So let's go ahead and head all the way down here, and of course you get down to the bottom, and that gives you a cost estimate as well. So that's what I'm looking for. Get on to Menards, build you a deck, or get it quoted and costed out to see what it's going to run you. So I've actually kind of enjoyed doing it. I've done about 5 of them now. So hope that you enjoy it as much too, and it gives you a little bit of a real world experience, a useful tool on a Menards site that you can use if you ever do need to build a deck for your own house. So there you go, guys. Thanks. I appreciate it. As always, shoot me an email if you have any questions.